So which one of these is the ultimate all-in-one lens for Sony APS-C cameras? How's it going? My name is Jussi and this channel is all about filmmaking, tips, tutorials and camera gear. In this video I'm gonna help you to make an educated decision which one of these two lenses is the best all-in-one lens for you and your Sony APS-C camera by comparing the Tamron 17mm to 70mm F2.8 lens to the Sony 16-55mm F2.8 G lens. I'll tell you the pros and the cons of both lenses and which one I prefer the most. This is not a scientific comparison, these are just my opinions based on my own user experiences. The Sony doesn't have stabilization inside the lens, but the Tamron has this VC, which stands for vibration compensation, but honestly I didn't notice any difference when using the VC when getting stable footage, so in my opinion the VC doesn't really make a difference. The first difference that I noticed between the two was that the Sony's image is sharper than the Tamron's, but with the Tamron you get more and better background blur than bokeh, because you can go all the way up to 70mm instead of the Sony's 55mm, which gives you more compression to the background, hence the background blur. Also, because the Tamron's minimum focus distance is very close, only 19 centimeters, that means that with the Tamron you can also get awesome macro shots without needing to buy a macro lens separately, which is fantastic. With the Sony, the minimum focus distance is 33 centimeters, which is not quite as close as with the Tamron, but you can also get some cool close-up shots with the Sony lens as well. Even though I'm a filmmaker first and photography comes second to me, it's awesome that both of these lenses are great photography lenses as well. So I don't know how well you can see it on YouTube, but it seems like with the Sony the image is clearly sharper than with the Tamron, but with the Tamron you get more background blur when you zoom up all the way to 70mm because of that compression. As usual, I did autofocus tests with both of the lenses where I walked towards the camera and both of the lenses worked perfectly without any problems, and they both have completely silent autofocus, which is great. On APS-C cameras like my Sony A6500, my favorite focal length is 60mm because you can get nice and wide and close, but it's not too wide that it would distort the image too much. But honestly, between the Sony 60mm and the Tamron 70mm, the difference is so small that you can barely notice it, so it doesn't really matter to me. So if we compare the two lenses again side by side at the widest focal length, there's not much difference, but if you look at the Sony, it does indeed look a little bit sharper again. However, if we compare the two at the longest focal length, you can see that the Tamron has more background blur and bokeh again, which looks more cinematic in my opinion. Now real quick, let's compare the specs of the two. They both have an aperture of f2.8 throughout the entire zoom range, which is great, and because they have the aperture of f2.8, which gives a lot of light into the sensor, it makes them good in low light and gives that nice cinematic looking bokeh or background blur as well, which is really cool. Also, they both have a filter thread of 67mm, which is a very common size, which means that you can use the same ND filter on so many other lenses too. The Tamron is moisture resistant and the Sony is dust and moisture resistant. But one big difference is the price. The Sony cost $1,398, whereas the Tamron costs only $799 according to B&H Photo, which is almost like half the price. So which one of these two lenses should you get? Well, obviously it depends. For me, I personally prefer the Tamron for sure because it has a better zoom range when you can zoom up to 70mm and you get better background blur, and the fact that it has this macro feature is a no-brainer for me because I've been wanting to get a macro lens for a long time. And if you're on a tight budget like I am, it's not simply worth it paying twice the price almost for the Sony. However, if you don't need the macro feature, a sharper image is a must for you and it fits your budget, and you want to have the customizable focus hold button and you want to have the AF/MF switch, then you can't go wrong with the Sony because, let's be honest, it is a very versatile and high quality lens. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, I recommend that you watch either one of these videos somewhere here in the screen because I think you're really gonna like it. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll see you again next time. Take care.